Hello and welcome to the Pursue podcast. We're starting 2022 with a bang. Truls, you're here with me, and we also have a very special guest, and this is hot off the press. We had to switch on and cancel all our meetings, all our plans, and invite Mr. Sivert Haugli here to hear more what happened to him this week. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we had a fun night on Tuesday. You were picked by Portland Timbers in the MLS SuperDraft. It was a very, very special moment for you and your family, but also for me, because I've been kind of part of your journey for a long time, and this was the ultimate goal that you set when you wanted to go to college in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the goal the whole time, and it was a special moment, and I'm glad that we got to share it together.
Yeah, I mean, you live 10 minutes from our HQ. It's almost too good to be true that we also can have you here. You're flying out to Portland tomorrow.
That's the plan, yes.
That's the plan, to get ready for preseason. And of course we'll delve into MLS and your college career culminating with being your name is out of the hat, picked by one of the absolute best clubs in MLS. I mean, they finished second. They won MLS. This is not a new club there. They are one of the absolute best ones, probably with the best fan base, and it's a super exciting place to go and play. But I think we'll have to rewind a little bit to understand what it means then. On Tuesday night, you're picked, but it's not a coincidence that you're picked. It's been a plan that started, 5 years ago at least, maybe even earlier for you. But talk us through how, when you were playing at Stabæk, you were playing in Bærum in Norway. You thought about the US, and you did you see that as a way to kind of continue that pro dream instead of kind of doing it more the traditional route here?
Yeah, I think so. So I went to NTG, which is the high school, like sports high school around here, and played soccer there. So I played for Stabæk my first semester there, actually, before I transferred to Bærum, a different club. And it was probably around my sophomore year, which is called, but it's only 3 years in high school here. That some of my friends older friends in high school decided to go to college and commit to colleges, and some of them were using CSUSA. So I got in contact with them and just kind of early decided that that's what I wanted to do. But it wasn't that I wanted to use soccer to get an education. It was more that I wanted to prolong my soccer career and take out my full potential while getting an education. And right away, I think that's what I said in one of the first meetings with you. That I want to get to the place where I can develop the most in hopes of being drafted at the end of my journey and getting a degree. So yeah, I set that goal pretty early, and here we are.
Yeah, and that's why we've seen the hard work put into this, and also that determination from the beginning that this is the plan, and you kind of followed it, and all the different decisions that you made over the years in college and during the summers, and you of course have delivered at the right place at the right time. That's also what it takes to get this opportunity. But I think this for me is a story about goal setting and how you put maybe we call it a hairy goal, right? You put a really target ahead of you. That carrot was really far away from the horse there, but you were every day working towards it.
Yeah, but it's not hard when you're doing what you love and what you like. If I didn't like soccer or playing football, which we call it back home, it would be a different story. It would be hard to get up every morning, but when you're just doing what you like doing and you have fun with it every day, it's a lot easier. So I mean, that helped me along the journey. The fact that I never got tired of playing the sport and going to training every day and doing that extra stuff. And yeah, once I decided that this is what I wanted to do and that's what I wanted to go for, it was pretty easy to make all the decisions along the way, and playing summer league this past summer and in Iowa, Des Moines. And yeah, just working hard and staying true to what I was doing in hopes of getting that ultimate goal.
Yeah, but you did. I mean, of course, you showed up in training and you did everything 100%. But you did much more than that. I mean, you worked extra with extra coaching on the side. You've done, you can look at you're a pretty powerful center back now, and you don't become a powerful center back without doing extra, putting in, getting on the weights and extra running. You've been working on your speed, your agility. You've done a lot of extra things, which is what it takes to reach that goal, that hairy goal you had to reach MLS and be drafted.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think if you want to develop, that's the way to look at things. You have to look at your strengths and your weaknesses and try to develop your weaknesses and also kind of emphasize your strengths. So you said I'm a big guy and I've been in the weight room, so shout out to my strength coach Ron Dixon. He's a great guy and he's been helping me the past 4 years at Virginia Tech. But yeah, and hard work is the key, and it's pretty easy if you love what you're doing. But it's been a long journey, but it's been a fun 3.5 years since I started at Virginia Tech, and that's helped as well, no doubt.
Yeah, because a lot of players that go to college with that ultimate goal of being drafted, we do put a plan together for, hey, we're going to finish this up in 3.5 years, not 4 years, which is the normal length of a degree. That's the most common thing. But of course, you can do it quicker if you do a few extra classes here and there, so that you can finish. And you graduated from Virginia Tech in December 2021, according to plan.
Correct.
And then, because then you're completely ready, no obligations, no responsibilities. Then when the MLS draft is in January.
Yeah, and that feels pretty good. The fact that I have a degree in my back pocket, so I can kind of go ahead with my ultimate goal and what I want to do now, and know that I have my degree to kind of lean back on if that wasn't going to work the way I wanted to. So yeah, it's definitely a good feeling to have that. And that was kind of the first decision going towards this draft that I made, was taking classes during the summer after my first year, because that's at least the way I dealt with it, was taking summer classes every summer, online usually, or I think actually all of them were online.
Because then you could come back to Norway, you could could do it from here. You played when you were home, and of course getting ready for the main season, which when you're a college player on a scholarship, that is always the fall. But then you still come home. You have 3 months of summer holiday from early May to early August, and you have to put the groundwork in there and get games in to be ready for a preseason and the long, hard season.
Yes, so I was, I think all of my summers actually, except for the one I spent in Iowa, I was training with my old club, Bærum, that plays in the second division or third tier. Training with them, played a couple of games, mostly friendlies, I think. And yeah, was just getting ready for the season and taking classes at the same time to try to kind of get ahead a semester, which I had to do to take it in 3.5 instead of 4 and finish my degree then. And that was a good thing. It was great. I like to be kind of forced to doing something. Like today, I had to get up in the morning. If I didn't have this podcast, I probably wouldn't wake up at 9:30 or something like that, or probably sleep in a little bit longer. So when I have stuff to do, I get up and I'm fine with that. And when I have school and training to do in the summers, which is usually a pretty chill period, it helps me to get going a little bit. So yeah, it was a win-win situation.
Yeah, because draft night was it's a long one, and we were probably left from your house around 1:30. But you had training in the morning with your, you'd already scheduled, so you had up early, no time to celebrate that, and just get a little bit better. And then, of course, with that added motivation to, well, I'm going to Portland to show how good I am, and just get that spot on that team.
Yeah, my legs were definitely a little bit lighter during that morning session after the draft. Got some extra motivation from that night. But yeah, my dad, the day of the draft or the morning or something like that, my dad asked me, are you sure you want to do this training session tomorrow morning? Because it was kind of early. At least I had to get up early if I wanted to eat a little bit before and get ready and stuff. Because he anticipated that the draft was going to take quite a while, probably with the fact that I wasn't going to go in the first picks either. So he was like, yeah, are you sure you want to still have this session this early? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. The draft will not take that long and stuff like that. And then we were sitting there at like 1:30, 2 a.m. and I was going to be up in 6 hours in training. But I stuck with it and it was fine. And it's just one of those decisions you have to make down that road that hopefully will make you better.
And it definitely has made you better. Yeah, so we started that recruiting process, how to get to college, where to go, and we on the board we had, hey, ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, that's where you really wanted to play. So that was yes, we can try that. You didn't have like the full profile at that time. You were still quite young of the typical ACC player. It was certainly, I felt, because I'd seen you in action, seen you play, and saw the potential in, you can have what it takes. But it was not like a shoe-in to just get you to ACC. I mean, it's really tricky, ACC. That's regarded as the best division or conference in Division 1 in NCAAs. You did have a really, really good showcase. That's kind of what kicked off this this process of yours to just play in front of a lot of coaches, and you could see, we might have a bit of a diamond in the rough here.
Yeah.
How was it to kind of start that process and knowing what you needed to kind of improve in order to get the chance to get what you wanted at the college level?
Good question. It was definitely a good start to be part of the showcase because it's easy to be out there and just playing alongside guys don't know, and stuff like that. And then started speaking with some coaches right after that. But I was there a year early, so I was playing with players that was going to go right after that showcase, kind of.
Because this was in December 2016.
Correct, yes.
And then there were a lot of players there who were going to finish up high school and then start college August 2017. But you started very early, which is a good thing. And then, because you were going to go August 2018 because you're finishing high school in the summer of 2018. So we couldn't kind of do that any quicker. Correct,
yeah. I think you just suggested that why not start the process early? Why not take part in the showcase early? It's not going to hurt you, kind of thing. And it worked. I mean, I didn't get any ACC offers. I don't even know if you had any ACC schools there.
I can't remember the showcase, the list of schools there, but there were a lot of coaches interested in you, so it was a bit of a hype around it. Hey, who's this big center back? Because you were still this tall back then, I feel.
I was probably the same height. I don't know about weight and these things and stuff, but
more muscle now, Sivert.
Maybe a little bit. But no, it was definitely a little bit of a hype after that first showcase. And then, like you said, at that time, I wasn't necessarily 100% ready or sure that I was going to go to the ACC level, even though that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, we always kind of had, hey, we're still working towards that.
That was the goal, and that was because I asked you, what should I do if I want to get drafted as my end goal? And you said, well, the ACC is the best conference in the country by far. And I said, let's shoot for that then. Let's try to go for that. And right away, the offers didn't come from there, obviously. It was still a little bit early. I still had some maturing to do. And Then I started playing in the third tier in the PostNord Liga with Bærum, and switched from playing under 19s and like youth soccer to actually playing senior soccer, which I think helped me a good amount.
Because the potential was there, but you needed to really show that you could transition into the men's soccer game, not just playing under 19s.
Yeah.
And I would say, and would like to get your take on it, that PostNord in Norway, so third tier, you need to kind of do very well at that level to come in and be impact at a high Division 1 level. How do you feel that the difference was there in coming from Norway, playing a good level of senior soccer here, compared to coming then to the ACC and playing there?
It's a very good question, and a question that I asked a lot before going over. Because
they all ask about this because you want to know.
Yeah,
but it's really hard to explain that.
It is, and I think I have a pretty good, not a pretty good answer to it, but just like an overview that makes sense. So I was asking the guys that I knew that either was going to college, had been at college, or was coming home from college right before I went over, and I was asking them like, hey, everyone's saying like the level's different and it's the soccer's different over there. Like, can you explain to me? And I remember I was talking to one of those guys, and he was just saying, it's kind of hard to explain. You just have to go over there and witness it yourself and play there. And that's exactly the way I feel right now. I mean, I think the difference is getting smaller and smaller because soccer in the States is developing a lot year after year. They were kind of behind, but they're catching up now. So the differences are getting smaller and smaller, but I wouldn't say, a lot of people say that the college system is a lot more physical, and I don't think they mean that the players are just big players and more physical in general, but that the style of play is more physical, that maybe sometimes you're relying on individuals more than the team. Depends obviously on the program and how you play and stuff like that. But you see more times over there, I think, that teams with a couple of good players, 2, 3, 4 good players can do very well, while back home it would be more like of a team structure and a teamwork, and that the whole group has to work together. Not that you don't do that in the US, but sometimes there's a little bit of a difference there.
You can rely on, the individual player more than the actual team.
A little bit more, yeah. Not totally rely on, obviously, but a little bit more in some situations, yeah.
Yeah. And then you come into your first year at Virginia, and it's a tough school and a tough program to come into, but
not to be mistaken with Virginia. It's Virginia Tech. That
Virginia
rivalry, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit.
yeah, you come into
I saw
Virginia.
Sivert was just shaking his head there. What is Virginia?
You come into Virginia Tech, and it's a tough program to come into.
Yeah.
But then you kicked it off by playing 20 out of 20 games and started 20 out of 20 games. That's not normal for a freshman coming in.
It's not, and I wasn't expecting it either. I remember my first year, and when it all leads back to talking to Kim in the first meeting, really, like we were talking about, oh yeah, you want to go ACC, and the reason that I wanted to go ACC was because I wanted to come into a system and a program where I wouldn't necessarily play my freshman year, because I wanted to be in a situation where I had to develop into getting playing time and getting better, and that way getting more minutes, because ultimately I saw that helping me more towards the draft than just playing the whole time my freshman year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what you look at and what you think benefits you more, but at the same time I played everything my freshman year, so it was kind of funny, but no, it was a great experience. And I remember actually, I don't know if it was one of the first conversations, but early speaking to the Virginia Tech coach, Briz, after committing, he mentioned to me, because they had at the time, the year before I came in, a 6'5" center mid that was playing kind of the holding spot, number 6, that was going to graduate when I was gone. And I don't think he had brought in anyone yet that he wanted to use in that spot. And he said, what do you think playing as a 6, Sivert? And I said, I've never played there, but if you want me to play there, I'll give it a shot. I don't know if I can do a good job or not, but I mean, I'll try. And then preseason came, and I started playing center back. I don't know if that was because he wanted me to just to get into it in an easy way and in my position and not play out of position the first couple of practices at least. But then he threw me in there in the midfield, and I was surprised. I wasn't expecting it because he hadn't mentioned it from that first time that he mentioned it,
which was probably like 8 months before or something.
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
it was a long time, and when he mentioned it, it was just like surreal, and I thought he was joking. And then he threw me in there at like a pre-practice, actually before UVA, Virginia, that we were playing, which was my first game as a midfielder. And I felt like I had no clue what I was doing. I was just running around. Actually, I was running around Joe Bell, that plays for Viking right now. He was there my first and second year. So
Big Bambi on ice there.
Yeah, no, I felt like that, at least in the first game, but we tied Virginia, which was good away for us at that time, and they were a good team. But it definitely took some getting used to playing the midfield, but it was fun, and I think it helped me ultimately. Yeah,
it did. I mean, I remember speaking to Briz, head coach at VT, about that. That maybe the first 2 seasons it would be very beneficial for you to learn that defensive center mid role. It would certainly improve you as a center back, because the plan was always that the last 2 seasons you're playing center back.
Correct.
And I remember speaking to your dad about it many times. Hey, got to make sure that because Sivert, he is a center back, and you are, but you did well as a defensive center mid, and it improved your game. Now you have to have more of a 360 view of the game when you have players all around you. But as a center back, it's mostly in front of you, so it help with your ball handling,
Absolutely.
with your find solutions with passes and all that. So I think it was a genius move by Briz to get you set up, because it really improved you.
And today you need a modern center back that can keep the ball and be a ball playing defender. And you have several defenders that have done the same thing. Vincent Kompany, for example, played a defensive midfielder for a long time before transitioning into being a center back. So at the end of the day, I think it was a really, really good plan, because you played a holding mid freshman year and sophomore year.
Yes, correct.
And then transitioning into the center back role.
It actually was a transition going back from playing center mid again back to center back, because I mean, I've always played center back, but playing 2 years in that role in the midfield and then going back, it kind of at least you had to switch back, and it's different playing center back from playing center mid. When you get the ball in the midfield, like, yes, you're supposed to keep it, but if you lose it, I mean, you have the whole back line behind you probably that can clean things up and slow them down at least. But as a center back, yes, you're supposed to be modern, and yes, you're supposed to play and keep the ball, but your actual goal is to keep a clean sheet. But if you can do that while doing these other things, then yes. But
that's when you get drafted, Sivert. When you can keep the clean sheets, you can score some goals on corner kicks, and also open up with some good passes from the back.
So there's a balance there that I had to. I felt that a little bit when I came back from playing center mid and playing center back again. Sometimes I took a little bit some risky decisions in the back that I probably shouldn't. But, you learn from that and got through it. And then
18 yellow cards and 2 red cards later, you've learned from it, haven't you?
Yeah. Some heavy challenges later. I had to clean up some of my mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
We talk about Virginia, the big rivalry between Virginia Tech and University of Virginia. You had some good derby games there, right?
Yeah. It annoys me a little bit because until I think it was my junior year, that was the first time I lost against them. And if you don't know, Virginia Tech has not had a very good record against UVA, which I call them, which is Virginia Cavaliers, over the course of I don't know how many years, because Virginia has been a very good soccer program for many years, and they won many national championships and stuff like that. So Virginia Tech, we're kind of behind them for a while. So when I got in, it was like every time we were playing UVA, it was like, oh, this is going to be a tough one. Well, now it's changed a little bit, but I've only lost to them once through my 4 years, and I think I've played them like 6 or 7 times, if you also count the friendlies in the spring and stuff like that. But that one loss hurt a little bit. But it's definitely fun, very fun games because you get a huge crowd.
How many are we talking? I mean, this probably post-COVID times it was easier to get fill it up.
Yeah, no, we had so we played them now this past semester. I think it was one of our first home games as well. So obviously, if it's your home opener, it draws a bigger crowd, and UVA is always a big crowd. So I think, and we had full capacity at that time, and probably still have, but
and full capacity at VT is
so we had the stands were full, and then people were standing around the field as well, around the fences, kind of looking through. So I think all in all, like the stands take like 3,000, and then probably another 1,000 around the field, so 4,000, something like that, which was very fun. And we won in overtime, so that was even more fun.
Yeah, the overtime wins at home in front of 4,000 plus. And this is not quiet fans either in these games. This is they're cheering you on.
Yeah, it's a good atmosphere, and it's friends and people from the school that has a heart for rooting for you, and yeah, they care about, especially if you win against your rival.
Yeah. You had I remember speaking to your dad about this because he would of course, like most parents do, with their kids going over, they'll try and watch every game, right? And with the time difference and everything, it's sometimes quite awkward times to watch this, and sometimes you have to just do the live, follow it live on Twitter and wait for the highlights to come. And there was one night he was saying that you were down. I think you were playing Marshall, right? Defending national champion, D1 champion in 2021, and you're playing them, and you were down 2-0.
Yeah.
And then he went up to at halftime, and then he went up to I guess get a coffee or something, and so he didn't watch the game for like 5 minutes, and then in that time you had scored 2 goals, and it was 2-2, and eventually you ended up winning that game 3-2. What an awesome game for you.
Yeah, that was good, and a good story from my dad as well, because I don't really score that often. So I mean, he probably thought he was safe from going upstairs getting a coffee, at least not missing a goal of mine, because the chances of that are very slim. But it happened twice actually,
and in 5 minutes against the national champion.
Yeah, and they were ranked number 1 at the time as well. And we turned that game around and won 3-2. So it was great. But you asked me the other day what's like one of my best memories, and that sounds like one of the best memories because I mean, yes, I scored 2 goals personally, and you beat the number 1 team in the country, also reigning national champions. But that game we played at a neutral site at JMU, which is like 2 hours north from Blacksburg, where Virginia Tech is. So if that game was either at Marshall's place or our place, I would probably put that at top of my list. But just because playing at home or playing somewhere away where the fans are great, and our fans are always great at home, it didn't really live up to that. Yes, it was cool and everything, and it looks great, obviously, but fans are important, and I love them. So they make, for example, the UVA game a more memorable game for me.
Yeah, but in Portland, they have a pretty awesome fan base there.
I've heard that.
The best in the U.S.
Yeah.
Some say, yeah.
So you feel prepared for delivering in front of fans? Is that a motivation for you?
Not really that many, I think, because I think I Googled it the other day, and I was talking to some of my friends, and they were saying, or I was actually saying the same thing that you were saying, known to be the best fan base in the U.S. And stuff like that, and I was just like typing in average attendance for the season that was just now. And they averaged over 20,000 per game, which is different from 4,000 one game a year. So I don't know if I can be ready for that really, but I think the transition will be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not really a nervous guy in that way, but still I haven't played in front of that many people yet. I actually did play in front of 8,000 this summer in Des Moines, the final there, probably the largest crowd I've played in front of, but it's a big step from 8,000 to over 20. So we'll see, but I think I'll be fine.
We'll reach out to Adam Larsen Karasai, who played for Portland Timbers for a couple of years.
Oh, he did, yeah, right.
He did.
You're right.
So we'll reach out to him and he'll maybe give you some inside information.
Some tips,
there.
yeah. I could take some hints.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Adam is actually my neighbor in Ringnes Park, and obviously your current agent, he worked with Adam, and now you're in good hands there too. Probably a good idea to get in touch with him and get some get some advice before you head out.
You probably know some stuff about the town and the city and the place in general, and the club.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's done really well. For that club. I mean,
he retired now, but he did extremely well. He won the MLS championship. He obviously played for Ghana at the same time. So Adam Larsen Karasai had a tremendous career at the MLS.
Yeah. Top player.
Yeah, you talk about the 8,000 fans at Des Moines, Iowa. This was the national championship game in the summer league in USL 2, which is a very good place for college players to play in the summer. You know, it helps them with getting their fitness ready and match fitness for the season in the fall. But it's also a very, very good arena to be seen by the pro teams. And you obviously ended up at Des Moines. I was speaking to Mark McKeever, he's a Scottish head coach in college, and he is also coaching there in the summer. A lot of the college coaches do also do this, and he was looking for players, and I thought, hey, I think Sivert will be great for that, because I knew Mark is very good at building good teams. Yeah. And obviously this team, you ended up winning the national title. It was a very, very good move to go there. Yeah,
when I asked you about where I should go to play in that league over the summer, I wasn't expecting you to send me to the national champion, but that happened. And I'm very grateful for that. It was great for me, for my development, and for my standing. And I think it helped me in the draft. And yeah, we had a great team. And Mark was a really, really good coach and a really, really good person. And we made it all the way. And it was a great summer, very fun. Yeah. Because how is it that you? Because obviously looking back, there was a couple of guys, at least one guy that was playing with you this summer that ended up being drafted this time around as well. Your forward. It was two, actually. It was two. Yeah. So my point on this is a very good place to showcase your abilities. Yeah. It helps. But this is different, right? With the summer leagues, they kind of handpick the players from colleges that want to come out and play, and of course build a good team, and then you come together and quite quickly have to become a team. Yeah. And you had to difference another place in the U.S., Des Moines in Iowa, different from Blacksburg, Virginia, of course. Yeah. How was that summer for you? I didn't really know what to expect. I hadn't played in that league before. I was supposed to play the summer before, if you remember, but that got canceled because of COVID. And then the next summer came, and I got in contact with you, and you put me in contact with Mark and Des Moines. And I said, yeah, let's just do it. And it worked out pretty well, but I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I had my school, and I was comfortable in Blacksburg, Virginia, and everything there. And then you move on to a different place for just a couple of months, maybe 3 months if you're there early. And you're supposed to get together with a whole new group. And Mark had actually brought in a ton of players from different schools. So I think he's been in a game a long time, so he's got a lot of contacts that he trusts from different schools, D1, D2, different systems. And I think he just asked some coaches around, hey, do you have some players, good players, quality that wanna play USL 2 in the summer? If you do, please send them my way if they're interested. So we had a very big group in the beginning there, so it was hard to know everyone's name, honestly, if I'm going to be honest. And I was sleeping on an air mattress the first week getting to Iowa because we were that many players, and they had put us into these apartments, which were super nice, and it was perfect to live next door to everyone. But I was on an air mattress the first week, and I remember because I got there late since we were playing in the national championship with Virginia Tech. So there were 4 spots per apartment and 1 air mattress in the beginning, and all the 4 beds were obviously taken when I got there. And I texted Mark, I don't think the first or second night, but when it got a little bit later, and my back was hurting a little bit from that air mattress. And I was texting him like, "How long am I supposed to be on this thing for?" And he said, "Don't worry, people are going to start leaving pretty soon." And I said, "What do you mean by leaving?" And he said, "I mean, see, we can't have 50 players like the whole summer. You understand that?" So he just brought in a lot of players that were all very good and all wanted to do something with the soccer and get better that summer, and play for a good team. And then he kind of like just handpicked, "I want you, I want you, I want you," and told him, you're fine to stay here if you wanna train with us and stuff like that, but I don't see you playing that much, and let me get you in contact with someone else, type of thing. So yeah, he brought a huge group in, and then picked who he wanted to from that group of quality players, and it worked out pretty well in the end. And it was a lot of fun and a lot of great friends I still have from that summer. And obviously it helped a little bit that we went the whole way.
Yeah, it's funny that we, then you start getting to know players from different countries and other colleges, and they become your friends. And I mean, we, through our colleagues in Spain, I know you're now good friends with some that got help from them to go over, and it's a really good networking thing. And that's what it's also all about, to be part of a team. And then of course special bonds created when you actually win something together too, and you were a very dominant part of that team, and you scored some absolute bangers in that season too.
I don't know,
you say you're not scoring goals, but wow, I've seen a lot of good goals from you when you first scored them.
I was thinking about at Virginia Tech then when I said that. I did score some goals this summer actually. I don't know what Mark did to me. We were doing more finishing practice than we do at Virginia Tech maybe, but I was so I played as a center back the regular season this summer, and then we had a set of very good center backs that were playing, and maybe we were lacking a little bit at the number 6 spot, the holding mid, which he knew I could play, so he pushed me up there in the game, and I did pretty well. So he kept me there for the playoffs, and I mean it worked well, so I can't blame him for that.
We'll have to put up those goals you scored there. Absolute rockets from far out.
One was a rocket.
Okay.
The other one was more top ins.
Okay.
Yeah, top ends is
top
top ends.
ends.
Top ends is top ends, but
still
it doesn't
pretty
have to be a rocket.
But tell for those who might not know how the summer league really works. How many games per week do you play? Because it's pretty intense for those months you're there. Can you just quickly give us a breakdown of how the summer league works?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm not an expert on it. You can probably ask some other guys that have played there 2 or 3 times. I've only been there once and only one place, obviously, but it's a lot of games. So you play at least 2 games a week from like May until end of July, almost into August, almost. If you make it the whole way, I think the final was like August 1st or something like that. So it's a lot of games, but what Des Moines did and what Mark, the coach there, did was, yes, he brought in a lot of players in the beginning, and then yes, he let someone go, but he had a big group the whole time, so he could rotate players throughout the season, because 1, he didn't want players to get hurt for himself, and 2, he didn't want players to come back to their colleges and them being hurt, because obviously if next year he was going to ask that same coach for a player, he wouldn't send him again if they just keep coming back hurt. So that was good for me. I mean, I didn't play too much. It was fine. It was a good balance. But I got a lot of match fitness in, and a lot of fun times. Yeah, so it was good. It was very good, and a good level as well. Yeah, a lot of good teams, especially once you got through the playoffs. And I didn't really expect that. I hadn't heard much about that summer league before playing in it. I knew that it would be a smart decision for me going towards the draft and my standing there and stuff. I didn't necessarily understand why, but it's just how it is, the U.S. system. Sometimes things is what it is, and this was one of those. But I didn't really know what the level was going to be like. I didn't know if I was going to go in there and not play a single minute, or if I was going to go in there and thought it was the same as college pretty much, or where I was playing at in the ACC, or if I was going to go in there and it was going to be a lot better. But it was somewhere in between the 2 last ones where the level was really good, especially where I was at. I remember one of the first practices coming in there, I didn't play the first game because I got there kind of late. I think I got there the day before our season opener. And I was watching the first game, and we were playing the 3-back system. So obviously I was looking at the 3 center backs playing. It was a Spanish guy on the right, Spanish guy on the left, then an English guy from Newcastle in the middle. All 3 good friends of mine. And I was texting my dad during the game or after the game or something like that, and I was just like, these guys are really good. Like, good center backs. We didn't... I don't think we conceded many goals that season, and obviously they did a huge job there. So I was just like, I told him, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm gone here like in a couple of weeks or in some time, because I know he's going to start making cuts, and these guys are very good. So, I mean, it helped me a lot that I had to push myself, and I had to like be on top of my game the whole time because... Yeah, they were quality players, and there were quality players everywhere on that team. And there were center backs. I mean, if I'm looking at it from my standpoint, that were very, very good and had some serious quality that he just told them, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at other players in front of you. So, it was great for my development.
Oh. It pushes you, no doubt, which helped, and in the end, lifting the title. Let's talk about draft night Tuesday. I mean, we've been building it up because we had some good reports. You done well. Yep. You were on this list of all the eligible players that could be picked. It's our list of 170 players.
That was a lot.
It's a lot of players. That one is to be on that list, so you do have the chance to be picked on draft night, and then. Draft system is very different it's a very US thing, but it's a very exciting thing.
It is.
Where, each of the MLS clubs, I think there were 28 teams, right? They all get picks, and it's based on kind of how well your team did last season.
Correct.
There's a lot of ins and outs, but, in general terms, it's the team that finished bottom of the league last year get the first pick.
Correct.
The next year in the draft, and the ones that won, Ronny Deilas, New York City FC, they won. They beat Portland. They had the second and the absolute last pick in this round's draft.
And then there were 3 rounds, and everyone had 1 pick per round to start with, and then you can trade and stuff like that. But
so there's potential of it does take a bit of time to the first round, where every club, they have 4 minutes in order to pick a team. So it obviously starts on the first team. They have 4 minutes to pick their player. I mean, they can choose whoever they want, so they they know their draft pick well ahead, but they take their time. They it's all that building up in the studio.
That first round was long.
It took a long time. There's a lot of things that happen during a draft round where the clubs can actually trade picks in between them. So it might have been Chicago who's picking number 5, and then Toronto might call them, hey, we really want to buy your pick from you, so you can get our 12th pick instead of, and we take yours with a little bit of cash, So there's a lot of moving parts to this, and you have agents working the clubs. You have, it must be very difficult for the clubs to. They must have done a very good job beforehand to be prepared to kind of, hey, who do we want, right? And because you don't know who's going to be available when it's your time to pick.
Yeah.
So. Exactly. But it is a fun system. They do drag it out in the broadcast, but it's that I'm sitting next to you in the living room watching this, and it's that every time someone's gonna pick, I'm sitting looking at you thinking, oh, I hope that's my name being picked. How was the feeling whenever there was hey, pick us in, let's go to this club to see what they choose?
Yeah, it was a weird feeling. I'm usually kind of a calm guy. I don't get winded up usually. Not really that nervous often, but I was this time. I don't know if nervous is the right word, maybe excited. I mean, things were looking good, and we had gotten some insight that made things look like I was going to go maybe. But you never know, and nothing is 100%, especially not in a huge puzzle like that. I think you're the one that told me the day before or something when I said, yeah, things are looking good maybe and stuff like that. And you were just like, look, listen, it's a huge puzzle and things have to go your way in order for it to work out. But it was a weird feeling, and you never know. So when the first, I mean, I knew I wasn't going to go like early in the first round, which I didn't at all. But still, I mean, you're sitting ready, and if your name pops up, obviously there's a chance. But no, it was a fun night and a weird experience, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. And then, you know, we watched the whole first round, and you know, we're texting with you know, your representative in the US that is of course also working the case with the clubs, and he's like, yeah, I'm thinking this pick might be for you, and you know, it's so many. So we're thinking, oh yeah, pick number 21, it might be that, and then pick 21, and then comes another, and and then you're like, yeah, okay, we'll just keep going. So that's why it's I think it's a the mindset to have in before a draft as an international player, because you're also a little bit of a disadvantage being international in a draft because of all the spots that are reserved for internationals. It's not would be easier for you if you were American, right? Because of some of the restrictions, but you have to take being drafted as an extreme bonus, and I mean, it's not luck, but it's a little bit of, you know, the cards have to fall in the right place type of thing, and it did for you.
It did, but it did in kind of a weird way. I mean, you get some indications, like you said, beforehand or during or whatever, where you might go and who might pick you, like who's been interested beforehand, who have you been talking to more than others and stuff like that. And I mean, we got some indications from my representative and the guy I'm working with that there were some teams, and not only one, that said, look, if you're available in the second round, we're going to pick you 100%. And I was just like, there's no such thing as 100% in this draft. Because, I mean, if there's a player that they didn't expect that was going to be available in the second round, obviously they'll pick him before me. So I remember Kim was sitting at the edge of his chair because there was a team that was going to pick that maybe we've talked to, or maybe said they were going to pick me in the second round if I was available, and I was. So we were all like expecting my name to come up, but we also all knew that it didn't necessarily have to. And I mean, it didn't. I didn't get picked in the second round.
I was sitting there with my phone just filming you. Like, I want to get his reaction when the name is called here. And then I have like so many clips I'll probably delete from my phone. That was just 5 minutes of filming your face, right?
And then the stream started lagging a little bit and stuff like that. And then those picks in the second round that we were looking at, kind of, we went past that. So we kind of knew, okay, now it's the third round or nothing. And then,
but the draft tracker was just it was a mess. It stopped for a moment. There was like 15 minutes and nothing happened, and then still they had picked, but they hadn't uploaded on the site, and it was all kind of mixed up, and we were kind of getting stressed out.
Yeah, so I think the round 3 was just about to start, and I mean, I was hoping I was going to go there, and then my representative calls on the phone, and he says, Portland, done deal. And I was like, what do you mean Portland, done deal? They're not even up on the board. Like, their pick is way down there in the third round. And I was like, okay, maybe he's way ahead of me then. And he was just like, no, my draft tracker is just the same as yours, but I just see on Twitter Portland posted that they drafted you. So I just go up on Twitter and I found that. So the draft tracker was behind, so I didn't really get the official message from that page a little bit later. But
we were a little bit stressed at that time. I was like, are you sure? Are you sure that I've been drafted?
I asked him, because
I can't say I've been drafted.
Yeah, it was a weird one, but
it doesn't get more official than Portland Timbers putting on there a picture of you playing.
Worked out in the end.
We drafted you.
Worked out in the end.
What an unbelievable feeling that it was to then get in.
It was
your name.
It was
Here we go. You've been given now the opportunity to show Portland that, hey, this is what I'm all about, and earn that contract.
A great feeling, and that's pretty much what you're looking for in the draft. It doesn't matter if you go in the first round, second round, or third round. I mean, there's a difference, obviously, and it's a little bit status to get picked in the first round, but I think pretty much everyone gets the same opportunity.
Yep.
So just
Because your teammate went in the first round. He was the first round draft pick the year before.
Oh,
right?
yeah. He wasn't even just the first round draft pick, or he was, but he was also the first pick in the whole draft. And I was on he's the one that announced the Austin FC pick in the first round, actually, on the live stream during the draft.
He called you right after the draft was over. Say, hey.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's a great kid. I was on an MLS call yesterday with all the draft picks and stuff, and just going through some different stuff. And he was on there as one of the guys talking about how it's been playing his first year, rookie year, because obviously it was kind of like a rookie invitation Zoom call. So he was there talking, and I was texting with him during that thing, and he was just like, I can't believe I'm on here. Like, why am I speaking to you? He's like my son, because he got drafted his sophomore year, I think. He signed one of those Generation Adidas deals, which is it's called. Very good player. Yep. Probably one of the most talented players I've ever played with. I played with him in the midfield for... it was one season I played in midfield with him, and then the next year I played center back. But yeah, he's unreal. Yeah.
Hopefully you'll play against him this year and show him who's boss.
Yeah, that might be an orange card on him then.
Yeah, it might be an orange card on him. Yeah. So tell us now, you might fly out to Portland tomorrow, right?
Yep.
And then there's a couple of exciting weeks ahead.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really know much what's going on yet. It's kind of still up in the air, but they want me in tomorrow, and because of the time difference and stuff like that, that probably means leaving tomorrow morning. So I don't know how early or exactly what flight yet, but we'll figure that out, and I'm looking forward to it. And then things are going to happen over there, I guess, preseason and stuff, and meeting new people and getting used to a new place, and just trying to deliver and do my thing and do everything in my power to hopefully get a contract.
Yeah, it's exciting times ahead now, definitely.
Yeah, we're looking forward to following that journey of yours, which is just now getting started. You said it yourself, back pocket. You have a pretty darn good degree too, because Virginia Tech, it's not just good in soccer, it's also a world-renowned academic institution, and you have a very good degree from there. You will probably need it at one point, even though you play 15 years of pro now, hopefully. It's always good to come back with some academic credentials. But lastly, Sivert, I mean, what a story it has been to kind of seeing you grow, and I don't mean in more height, because you were still 6'5" when I first met you, I think, and I always feel small when I'm in the room with you and your brother and your dad.
I'm sitting down, right?
That's right. You have a stool, we're standing, or you're still taller than us. But hard work has paid off here. You still have to go out and make it professionally and show what you can do. But what's your advice to others that are thinking about, hey, professional route, college route can be a thing? I mean, you've done that, but what are the best things about the college experience and how it set you up for this?
Oh, wow. It's multiple things, I would say, that we've talked about throughout this podcast. Obviously, a huge deal of it. It's getting an education as well, and it's possible to get it paid for as well. But I mean, it's a huge journey and a lot of experiences along the road, and doing that in a different country, which if players are using you, they would probably move away from their home country and to the US. It's a great experience. And there's a lot of different experiences I think you can learn a lot from. So, I mean, it's no question been the best 3.5 years of my life. I mean, you're living the dream, and at least if you come into the whole process and the whole journey kind of with open arms and an open mind, and expect that things are a little bit different, just deal with it, get on with it, and make the best of it. But it can be, to put it in a cool way, what I tell my friends that I'm back here now, because they're studying here, and school is a little bit different in the U.S., especially if you're an athlete. And they asked me, well, how's it been and stuff, and I always said, like, man, like, it feels like I've been on vacation like for 3.5 years with my buddies playing soccer, having fun, and I'm sitting left with a degree and a possibility to get drafted, because this was before the draft, and now a possibility to sign a contract with an MLS team. So I mean, it's an unreal opportunity if you approach it in the right way, and it almost sounds too good to be true.
Fantastic. Sivert, we wish you all the best and good luck in Portland. Show them what you can do. We're looking forward to seeing you hopefully in the MLS this season.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on this podcast.